Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to the online class of contemporary taxation. Today we are conducting our 31st lecture and I am your instructor Saba Naqvi. हम अपना चैप्टर नंबर 9 स्टार्ट किया था, उसी को आज कंटिन्यू करेंगे। 11th पॉइंट हमने लास्ट लेक्चर में भी डिस्कस किया था कि डिडक्शन नॉट अलाउड, जिसमें हमने किया था कि नो डिडक्शन शैल बी अलाउड इन द कंप्यूटिंग द इनकम ऑफ पर्सन अंडर द हेड बिजनेस इनकम इन द रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ फॉलोइंग एक्सपेंसेस। इसी को आगे कंटिन्यू करते हैं। 11.1 is the tax charges and levy paid for to the government. Although any cases charge on the profit rate and tax paid or payable in Pakistan or foreign country that is live and assessed as percentage on the business profit is not admissible. However, workers' welfare funds and workers' profit participation fund is payable on the profit, but the same as specially allowed in the as a deductible allowance. 11.2 is the penalty and penalty or and fine. Any fine or penalty for the violation of any law, rule, regulation is not admissible. However, certain payments are allowed as tax expense which are not for the violation of any law, rule, and regulation. For example, when compensation at the late payment of loan installment, demurrage to customer authorities, and compensation of interest for breach of contract in the ordinary course of businesses. And next one is the certain payment to a member by an association of person. Profit on debt, brokerage, consumptions, commission, salary, and other remuneration by a AOP and its member is not admissible for tax purpose. However, rent paid by a firm to the partner for its resident is as a part of salary expenses of the firm and therefore not admissible for the tax purpose. However, if it is partner premises are used for by the firm and rent is paid to the partner, then the same shall be treated as rent allowable tax expenses and need not to add it back into the income of the AOP. Next one is the deduction allowance. Deduction allowance: the following allowance shall be deducted from the total income of for computing of taxable income for the tax year. Number one is the zakat, where a person has paid any amount as zakat other than zakat deducted on profit on debt, then he shall be entitled to the deducted this amount from his income chargeable to the tax. If the income of zakat is more than the income chargeable to the tax, then excesses shall not be refunded, carried forward, or carried backward. Workers' welfare fund: a person shall be entitled to a deductible allowance for the amount of any worker fund paid by the person in the tax year under the Worker Welfare Fund Ordinance. Worker Welfare Fund is the chargeable and payable along with the income tax return of a person. Third point is the Workers' Participation Fund. A person shall be entitled to the deductible allowance for the amount of any workers' participation fund paid by the person in the tax year under the company profit. In the view of above, the sum paid for worker profit participation fund is the admissible deductible allowance. It is an important place to record with the under any amount of undistributable workers profit participation fund will be paid as a worker welfare fund to the tax authorities. Deductible allowance for profit or debt. Number one is the every individual shall be entitled to deductible Allowance for the amount of any profit or share in a rent and share in appreciation for value of houses paid by the individual in a tax year, or on a loan by the scheduled bank or non-banking finance institution regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan and evidenced by the government or the local government, provincial government or statutory bodies, and public companies listed or on a registered stock exchange in Pakistan, where the individual utilize the loan for the construction of new houses and acquisition of houses. Any loans or a part of loans under this section of the tax year that is not able to be deducted for the tax year shall not be carried forward to the subsequent tax year. Fifth point is the deductible allowance for education expense. Any individual shall be entitled to the deductible allowance in the respect of tuition fee paid by the individual in the tax year, provided the taxable income of the individual is less than rupees 15 lakh. Any loans or the part of loans under this section for the tax year is not able to deductible for the year shall not be carried forward to the subsequent tax year. Loans under this section shall be allowed against for the tax liability and either for the partner making payment of the fee and on furnishing national tax number and the name of the educational institution. Next is the provision regarding consumer loan. A non-banking finance company and the HBFC shall be allowed deduction not exceed than 3% of the income for the tax year rising out the consumer loan for credit for the reserve of said debt rising out the such loan, where the bad debt cannot be wholly set off against the reserve, and any amount of bad debt exceeding the reserve shall be carried out forward the adjustment against the reserve to the following years. The consumer loan mean a loan of money as a equivalent made by a non-banking finance company or the HBFC to the debtor consumer, and the loan is entered primarily for the person, family, and the household purposes, and include debt credit by the use of a lender credit card or similar agreement, as well as insurance premium financing. Profit on non-performing debt of a banking company or the development finance institution. Any profit deduct is above this record shall be included in the income of company or institution or NBFC and the mudarba chargeable under the head of income from businesses for the tax year in which it is recorded. A banking company or development finance institution or non-banking finance company or mudarba shall be allowed a deduction for any profit acquiring on non-performing debt where the profit is credited to a suspense count, and in the accordance with the prudential regularization for the above named category issued by the SBP State Bank Pakistan. Transfer to the participatory reserve. A company shall be allowed a deduction of tax year for any amount transferred by the company in the tax year to the participatory reserve in accordance with the agreement related to the participatory capital to the between the company and the banking company is defined in the financial institution recovery of finance. No deduction shall be allowed above if the amount of tax exempt accumulation in the participatory reserve exceed 10% of the amount for the participatory redeemable capital. यहाँ पे एक लिस्ट है जिसमें एग्जाम्पशन फ्रॉम टोटल टैक्स इनकम के ये कुछ एग्जाम्पशंस हैं जो टोटल टैक्स इनकम में से होती हैं। जिसमें सबसे पहले इनकम ऑफ द सर्टेन चार्जेबल एंड अदर इंस्टीट्यूशन। सेकंड वन इज द इनकम फॉर द टैक्स बुक बोर्ड, इनकम ऑफ द स्पोर्ट बोर्ड, इनकम ऑफ द कलेक्टिव इन्वेस्टमेंट और REIT scheme, the sales of immovable property, real estate investment trust, profit of joint venture capital co and the fund income of subsidiary of Islamic Development Bank, income derived by the Islamic Development Bank, income from transport business in Azad Kashmir, public sector universities, income in Gwadar services etc. Profit and gain derived by the Gwadar free zone, profit on debt to the lender of China Overseas Port Holding Company Limited, income to the certain constructor and subconstructor, dividend income of certain persons, the profit and the gain derived by the Coastal Oil Refinery at Khalifa Point by the IPIC for 20-year profit and gain by of a refinery, profit and gain derived by the taxpayer from the industrial undertaking set up in the Lucknow industrial estate, profit and gain derived by the taxpayer from the industrial undertaking set by the Gwadar industrial estate, profit and gain derived by the corporate zone development, profit and gain derived by the food processing Malak and Gilgit Baltistan and Fata, profit and gain derived by the industrial undertaking, profit and gain of a company from the greenfield industrial undertaking. Foreign income is then the respect of royalty, commission and fee etc. Income of private sector power project and profit and gain derived by the Secure Oil Pakistan Limited, coal mining project, income from export of computer software and IT services, income of special purpose vehicles for sectorization of debt, profit and gain derived by a startup. ये सब वो पॉइंट है डेट इज एग्जम्प्ट फ्रॉम द टोटल इनकम। फर्दर इनकी डिटेल्स भी नोट्स में है कि जो सबसे पहले फर्स्ट था हमारा पॉइंट इनकम ऑफ सर्टेन चार्जेबल एंड द अदर इंस्टीट्यूशन, इसमें भी आगे फर्दर पॉइंट्स है इनकम ड्राइव बाय द अब्दुल सत्तार ईडी फाउंडेशन, अल शिफा ट्रस्ट रावलपिंडी, द इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ इंजीनियर पाकिस्तान, फास्ट फूड कंपनी लिमिटेड etc. ये सारा कुछ आप नोट्स में देख लीजिएगा। 17th point is the reduction in tax rate. Letting of the petroleum pipeline. Any income of a person whose profit and gain from businesses and computing under the 5th schedule of the this ordinance is derived from the letting out the similar person by the pipeline for the purpose of the carriage of petroleum, it shall be charged with a tax to the at the same rate as applicable to the such person in the accordance with the provision of the said schedule. Next one is the services rendered outside Pakistan. The tax in the respect of income from the services rendered outside Pakistan, construction include outside of Pakistan shall be chargeable at the rate is the specific provided at the receipt from the services, and income from constructed are brought into the Pakistan and foreign exchange through normal banking channel. 17.3 is the income from PCB derived from the outside Pakistan. The income from Pakistan Cricket Board derived from the from sources outside Pakistan, including media right, gate money, sponsorship fee, in stadium right payment made by the International Cricket Council, Asian Cricket Council and any other cricket board shall be taxed at the rate of 4% of the gross received for the such sources. Next one is the 2% tax on the share trading on stock exchange. The rate of tax as are specified. Number one is that it is fulfill prescribed Shara company criteria approved by the State Bank of Pakistan, Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, and the board. Derived income from the manufacturing activities only has declared taxable income for the tax-free consecutive tax year and has issued drive for the last 5 consecutive tax year. And the last one is the reduction in tax liability. The amount of tax payable in the year in which the rupee is revalued or devalued by a taxpayer whose profit and or gain are computed in accordance with the rule of contained in the ordinance whose entered with the government into the agreement with the provided for such reduction shall be reduced to the amount that will be payable in the absence of the revolution of devaluation of the rupee. यहाँ हमारा चैप्टर 9 कंप्लीट हो गया. इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट क्लास में नेक्स्ट चैप्टर स्टार्ट करेंगे. थैंक यू.